Good evening and a warm welcome to Big Budget Business, where we highlight prolific entrepreneurs who are making strides in their respective fields. Now, today is our very first international guest show, and we have multiple award-winning businessman, Mr. Rinos Mautsa from Zimbabwe. Mr. Mautsa, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Big Budget. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. The first thing that we'll ask is for you to tell us about Mr. Rinos Mautsa, the individual. What is your background story?
Well, I was raised by a single mother. My dad passed on when I was so young, and in a family of 4. And my dad had 3 wives.
3 wives?
Yes. So it's actually, it attests to the fact that, it doesn't matter what your background looks like.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter where you come from or the color of your skin for you to be successful or to make it in life.
Yes.
And I went to a local university, and my first degree is marketing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I did marketing as a first degree, and later on I did a postgrad in South Africa.
Okay.
And I did an MBA,
Right.
which also point to the fact that you can be an academic and still make it.
Yes.
Many people, they think that if you pursue the academic route, you won't make it. Many times I've heard people who have made it, especially those who didn't go to tertiary education, they'll say, no, it doesn't pay to have a degree.
Yes.
But what I just want to say to the young person listening, it is very important for you to pursue your career. Along that journey now, you can then find your purpose.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, purpose. I like that. And just to reiterate, you did say there are people who will tell you that it's either not important for you to get into academics, or if you're in academics, then you can't go the business route. But as you are saying, it's possible for us to balance the two.
Absolutely.
And then I think later on we'll also get into this issue of purpose and how you feel it has served you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that backstory. So you grew up in Harare, Zimbabwe?
Yes, I grew up I spent most of my time in Marondera, but I grew up in Nyanga, which is a rural side of Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was in Nyanga, and later on, when I completed my advanced level, that's when I went to Marondera.
Okay.
And it's a small town close to Harare.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. No, that's great.
Yeah.
What about maybe family influence? Within the family there, how was it having, your dad had 3 wives, so I'm sure you had a lot of siblings. How was the environment there? Was it fun? Was it good? Did you have any life lessons from that?
Yeah, there are a lot of life lessons. I think I can say it also taught both so easy when you're in business. You meet a lot of people.
Yes.
So it's so easy to get lost along the line and maybe want the second wife, the third wife, the 4th wife. But I learned that this is an area that I would never delve into.
Oh, okay.
I don't drink. I also learned from my dad, because my dad used to take alcohol.
Okay.
He was someone who was doing so well, but his life, I think maybe it was shortened. He had a premature death.
Okay.
Why? Because of maybe the life that he was living.
Oh.
So there are a lot of life lessons that I've drawn from that encounter. And many times as young people, I think I have to hasten to point to that.
Okay.
As young people, it's so easy. We used to judge our fathers for certain things when we were growing up, to say, I know my dad is like this, but maybe we are now doing things that are far much worse. So it's very important for us to learn, from our parents. Yes. There are mistakes that our parents that they are making right now. And growing up, you need to learn to say, how best can I be better than what my parents are? I'm so grateful for what my dad did to us. All of us, we went to the boarding school. Okay. It's an achievement, because he valued education for all of my siblings.
Yes.
But when he passed on, we were young, and it really affected our education. But I'm so glad that my mother had to sell everything that was available for her to pay for our school fees, for us to maintain the same lifestyle, and it helped me to pursue my academics until I went to varsity. And she didn't have a degree herself. But she wanted all her kids to have a degree and master's degree. And thank God, all of the 3 of us, we have a degree. We lost, one of my young brother, he was swimming, and we lost him. He passed on. So we were left, the 3 of us. So but we all managed to have the master's degree.
Wow.
So it's not an easy feat for someone who was unemployed. She was a peasant farmer doing some farming and part-time jobs for this local NGO to do teaching, adult education, and stuff. So it really helped us for us to be where we are today.
Wow, wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are speaking to multiple award-winning businessman, Mr. Rinos Mautsa, who runs many businesses, which we'll talk about in Zimbabwe and beyond. And one thing that I took from you there was that we need to appreciate the sacrifices that our guardians and our parents make for us. It might not be easy, but when we're on the other side, on the child side, we might think that, the mistakes that they make, we could have done better. Yeah. So let's appreciate our elders. Now, Mr. Mautsa, let's talk about Rinos Mautsa, the entrepreneur. Yeah. How did you get into business and how did you get to the point that you are at right now?
Well, so when I completed my advanced level, I went, it was so easy in Zimbabwe. So that's the bridge when you are now going to your tertiary education.
Okay.
So back then, it was easy for us to get a job for temporary teaching.
Okay.
And our economy in Zim was kicking. It was so in good shape. So I got a job to be a temporary teacher, and the money was okay. So I did about 3-4 months, and through that money, I bought a home theater. It was trending those days.
The home theater.
And yes, and to cut the long story short, that home theater, I didn't buy a phone. I bought a home theater. I went to college with a home theater. I was showing some movies at college.
Okay.
So instead of asking for money back home, I was getting money Friday, Saturday, and sometimes on Sunday. And through the savings, I ended up also buying some cordials, which are the juices, the drinks, exporting to Zambia from a local manufacturing company. And I was a young kid, in my 19, 20. And that's when I really realized that my calling, my purpose was entrepreneurship.
Wow.
Whilst I was still at college. So I was trying to balance, doing what I was doing and also my studies as well. But it was at a small scale. So that at a later stage, I bought my car when I was still a student at college.
Wow.
But if you had to check on my background, people thought that maybe I got the money from my parents.
Wow.
But it wasn't my parents, but they couldn't afford to buy a car. They didn't have, my mother didn't have a car herself.
Wow.
But I managed to buy that car for convenience and stuff. And later on, when I completed my first degree, I wanted now to formalize. That's when I launched my first formal company in 2010. We launched it, invited a couple of business leaders in the country. It was a huge launch. So from there, I set up another company. It's called Chartered Institute of Customer Management.
Okay.
We set that one up, and I opened a tech company again. And I was so fortunate, I always say to people, when you are within your calling and purpose, providence automatically will come in.
Wow.
The helpers, divine helpers will come in.
Wow.
That's why it's very, very important when you have a dream or a seed within you. What you have to do, you just have to start.
Yes.
But the moment you linger, in the peripheries, to say, should I do it, should I not do it? Automatically, it will take you time and you will never start. But once you start, some helpers will come in and you see things falling into place. And sometimes it may take time. You need to endure, to have that patience for you to go on. If you are patient enough, one day the fruits will come forth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. A lot that I picked up from there.
Yeah.
You were already exporting juices out of the country in high school. Yeah. You managed to purchase your first car. No, not in high school, but in varsity rather.
Absolutely.
You managed to purchase your first car in varsity.
Yeah.
So you were already taking the risks of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And from doing that, you decided, okay, this is what my calling and purpose are.
Yeah.
And then you also mentioned that when we decide on what our purpose is and we take the first step, the divine help, the angels, they come and they help us on this journey. So whatever it is that you've decided to take, resign from the debating society in your mind so that you take that first step and you go for it, because you don't know what providence will bring as the journey continues. Wow, that's wonderful. Very inspiring, Mr. Mautsa. Now that we've gotten into you, the individual, and you, the entrepreneur, tell us about the businesses that you run. Maybe talk to us about each of the businesses and their different lines of service.
Okay, so I want to start by saying, when you are starting, or you want to, maybe there's one young person who say, I want to be an entrepreneur, how can I start? And I have many ideas, I want to do a lot of things. So what I've realized, and that's the mistake that I made when I was starting, we want to do many things at once. That's the first mistake that we make. So if you do many things at once, sometimes you delay yourself. You have to focus on something that you are good at. Then, and you are most passionate about. Once you do that, you perfect yourself in that game or in that line of business. Once you are better, it's easy to diversify. But for me, when I was starting, I started many things at once, and it ended up delaying me. And where I was supposed to take maybe 2 years to be maybe an expert in that area, it took me maybe 5 years. So that's the first mistake. And the second mistake that we usually make as young people, if you start selling maybe doing vehicle repair, people realize that you are making money, and I think it's a common problem, not only with young people, but in Africa as a whole. The black people, what you do when you see your neighbor doing well in a certain line of business, I also want to do the same line of business. But you need to do a lot of sausage. You need to discern. You need to seek knowledge and understanding to say, what is my purpose? So if my purpose, if I realize that I'm so passionate about maybe education, the moment I start doing maybe the vehicle repair, automatically I will need more energy than I could have put if I had pursued the education business. So that's the what I thought maybe I should mention first.
Thank you.
So in terms of my ventures, my businesses are related. So in as much as I diversified, which was wrong then, but they are all related. My passion had always been to be in construction and energy, and at some point, once I'm done in tourism, why not tourism, the products and services, but to own some hotels, lodges and stuff. So they are related to construction. Energy is related to construction, but it's also for infrastructure and stuff. And our properties, we use the solar that is coming from our energy company. And the gas that we pre-install is from our energy company. So that was the idea. So these businesses are related. But I didn't have the capacity to start this big, because you need a lot of they are high capex projects. You need a lot of money for capital expenditure for you to invest into such projects. And because I was young, I started with something that was easy, and I started by launching the association. Because it was easy, and it also helped me to be known in the market. And because of that, I ended up knowing the big corporates. And when I was running the association, I was also employed elsewhere.
So this association was the
Contact Center Association of Zimbabwe. It's one of the largest associations in Zimbabwe. If you are to Google search, I think you see what I'm talking about. So I started the association, but I was very young. And from there, I was also working at a day job. So during the day, I was working in a call center, answering calls during the day. So I know in the evening, I usually preferred the evening shift back then. So in the evening, from 4 o'clock until 10 o'clock, I was answering calls. And during the day, from 8 o'clock until 3, I was working at the association. So I told the other one was my business, and the other one was the formal employment. And I never compromised with the formal employment. So I was putting a lot of effort for me to build that company. And it's also a lesson that I believe young people can also learn on. To say, if you don't have to rely, if you really truly believe that you are called to be an entrepreneur, you can also learn from big companies. You learn about their systems, their processes, to say, how can I build a sustainable business? But the mistake that we make as entrepreneurs sometimes, that's why you find that we have few companies that will grow to become multinational companies. Why? Because we believe and we never had that exposure. Remember, our forefathers were not entrepreneurs in Africa. We are different from our white folks. Those guys, their great-grandparents were entrepreneurs. So at a young age, you are taught about business. You know about business. You appreciate business. So you have been going maybe to that shop and learning the systems. So it's easy for them. So even without being given capital, they can run a company that can become a global company. But they don't spend the money. They learn the basic principles of entrepreneurship. But for us, the moment you start a business, we have a challenge that we think is my money. Because and I don't blame, I mean, you know, those entrepreneurs who do that. Because you are a first generational business person in your family line. And because of that, you get some few dollars, you start spending, you think it's your money. But for me, when I was working for other companies, I learned about processes, systems, business systems, to respect, I mean, peers, to say, okay, there are rules in business. Even if you are the owner, you have to be on salary. It's not your company alone. The moment that you have employed other people, but those people are depending on you. So once you appreciate that, it's so easy for you to scale and for you to grow. And it's easy for you also to motivate your team members. Remember, when people are coming to work for you, they are believing in the vision. So some people, they are coming not because you're giving them a lot of money. But the moment you start diverting now from, they see that you are not running the company professionally, and there's no scale in what you are doing, it's so easy for high labor turnover. But if you have that vision, if you are focused and you have systems, people will hang on and they will support your vision. But for them, they will appreciate that we are part of the business. Of course. There's no one who will say, no, it's mine, I started this.
They buy into the culture.
Exactly, that's the thing. So I worked the association working for someone, later for another big company, telecoms company, and I got promoted. It also shows also my work ethic. I became one of the youngest HOD in my mid-20s. I was an HOD, and a company that was running. Then I set up another company that we later set in Zambia. So we're actually expanding, but I was still working as well.
At the same time?
At the same time.
So you established businesses whilst also in formal employment?
Yes.
I think we are busting a very important myth there. The myth that if you are formally employed, it's difficult for you to venture into business. Now, here is someone who has ventured into business and had expanded whilst in formal employment, expanded into a multinational. So it's possible.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Big Budget. So when we expanded now, that's when I realized that my company, I think it has grown. Our headcount was way above 15, our employees.
You had created employment?
Yes, so I had over 15 employees. And that's when I realized that I know this thing is now growing. And it now, the demands, the pressure, it was now compromising also my former employment. That's when I made the decision to say, I think this is now time for me to be full-time at my company. And when I made that decision, I think it really paid off. That very year, our revenue actually doubled. That very year when I went to be formally employed at my company then. So it definitely helped me, but I don't regret having worked because I gained a lot of experience. I got no network in the industry, and also even my conduct is different from someone who is just raw. We have never been to a corporate setting. Because there's certain business etiquette that you take for granted, but you need them for you to anchor and put a solid foundation for growth in your business.
Mr. Mautsa, can I just interject there? Because I want to take this opportunity now that you're here. You said you jumped ship. You jumped ship from the formal employment into the business sector. Right. What are the pitfalls for us to look out for before we take that leap from the formal sector into employment? Maybe 2 or 3 things that we need to make sure that we have set.
Okay. So before you become full-time, it depends. It's not a casting stone. So it depends from one industry to another. But personally, what I thought, it really helped me. I was getting a salary where I was formally employed. But I had now people, a lot of people were working for me. So I waited for a moment when my company was, at capacity to pay me. At least the salary was supposed to be closer to what I was getting.
Close to what you were getting.
Exactly. Because the moment you are now full-time at your company, you have to get a salary. So the business money is not your money. You are just given maybe, grace to start the business. But it's not your business alone. It's for your employees. That business is supposed to cater for your community. It's supposed to also cater for the environment. So it's very, very important for us to master that. So the business has to have that capacity to pay you. And also you should have put maybe proper systems so that when you are there, you start flying. It will be so easy for you to grow. But sometimes you don't have to wait for the perfect time.
Okay.
There will never be a perfect time.
Wow.
You just have to take that great leap of faith to say, you know what, I've registered, I'm fully compliant, I mean by law, I'm paying my taxes and stuff, everything is set. And I have 1 or 2 people whom I trust who are good to support. And there's also some cues, you know, there's direction, and I can pick that, maybe there's scale that can come once I'm there. Once you have all those boxes ticked, it's so easy for you to come and join your company full time, because you can help it now to push. And the way you push, because as a visionary, you have that hunger to drive for results. So the company, the growth will be maybe in 4 folds. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much for that. Some very insightful information there from Mr. Rinos Mautsa, multiple award-winning entrepreneur from Zimbabwe. Sir, once again, your businesses briefly. You have Pico Construction, you have Tech24. Please just name your businesses and their lines of service.
Oh, okay, so we have Chartered Institute of Customer Management, and we are in over 13 countries. 13? Yes, we offer diplomas, and recently we launched our offices here in Botswana.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so we have, a team and a full-time CEO running that company.
Wow.
So I'm one of the owner. I own 80% of that institute.
Okay.
And we have other shareholders, but I'm the main shareholder and the full-time CEO and other supporting team members.
Wow.
So we are growing, and we are offering diplomas in customer service. We are actually the only formal entity in Africa that is offering those qualifications. So that big entities, universities, we have recently signed an MOU with the University of Johannesburg.
Wow.
Is also offering our programs, and we have other universities in Zimbabwe, African University. We have been sending MOU here in Botswana. We are doing the same in Uganda, in Ghana. So we are doing some massive. We have registered massive growth through that institute, and we also have Tech24 group. So we develop software solutions, and we have clients in Zambia. We have also clients here in Botswana, and most of our is anchored in Zim. That's where we started in Zimbabwe. Almost 80% of all the insurance companies, they're using our solutions, our software, and these are high capex software that costs over $200,000 per solution. Wow. And we have done so. The banks, they're using our solutions as well. And we are also developing other solutions for other sectors and industries as well. Then we have Pico Construction, and we have done so. I think if I'm to look at all the entities that I own, that one, I think in 2 years is going to be one of the largest, construction company, not only in Zimbabwe, but even in SADC region. Yes. Because the growth that we are registering is massive, and is by the grace of the Lord, because you can't just do that as a human being alone. Wow. Because of the level and the magnitude of growth that we have registered in Zimbabwe alone. And we are doing some infrastructure development projects, some commercial projects. We are also building houses. Recently we signed an MOU to build 10,000 units houses in Zimbabwe. Wow. So this is massive. I mean, you can't just make that up.
Absolutely.
Then we have an energy company. It's called Energy Plus International, and we have a full-time CEO. And I'm so happy that our CEO is young. He is also a shareholder. He was in the Forbes cover page last month. Great. For the 30 under 30 because of what we are doing at Energy Plus. So it attests also to the impact that we are making, that other big entities, they are also watching and they are seeing that. Definitely. So these are some of the things that we are doing. And we, into hospitality sector, we recently bought land in the resort area of Nyanga. We want to build some lodges, and if by God's grace we are going to put a theme park, because we don't have any theme park in Zimbabwe. So we want to put a theme park there, so if all goes well. So these are the entities that we are running, and this is what they are doing. Yeah.
Great. Let me commend you and the progress that you're making. And also to acknowledge the fact that you said the CEO of the energy company is young, and he was recognized by the Forbes 30 under 30. So thank you for believing in and empowering young people. Thank you very much for that. Let's talk about mentorship. What is your view on mentorship for us young people who want to venture into business? Why would you say mentorship is important?
Yeah, no, thank you so much, BigBudget. I think that's one of the most critical and crucial aspects before you embark on any entrepreneurship journey. I will just take you back or not taking you back, but I will just maybe make a reference. If you remember, one day there was this young man. He was asleep and he heard a voice calling, and he thought it was Eli. And the young man was Samuel. Yeah, and Samuel went to Eli and said, I heard you were calling me. And Eli said, no, I didn't call you. Then he went back to sleep. Then he heard the voice again and he went to Eli again. Until when he was told to say, just say, Lord, I'm listening. So just imagine if Eli was not there. Maybe Samuel wouldn't have figured out that that was God speaking.
Yes.
So we always need that person who will guide you. Remember the challenges that I've gone through. Someone who is under me don't have to go through the same challenges.
True.
The people that I know will become his people by virtue of association. I always say you need a lot of effort. If you are playing with a billionaire, you need a lot of effort and a lot of bad spirits, for you not to be a millionaire. You need a lot of effort for you not to be a millionaire by virtue of association alone.
Chances are you will eventually
automatically it's inevitable.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you spend a lot of time with a pastor, you need a lot of effort for you not to be a preacher.
Yeah.
You might not be a pastor as well, but you at least you'll be a good preacher. Or you'll be gifted in a certain area that he is. You get the point?
Yes.
So if you are mentored and when you're choosing a mentor, you don't just say, I know Rinos is successful, I want to be mentored by Rinos. You need to pray about it, you need to discern. Then once you feel in your spirit that this is the right person, you engage the person for you to be mentored. Once you are, because mentorship is very, very, very important. Once you are also being mentored, there is also what we call reverse mentoring. I also learn from you.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I also learn from my mentee. But for you, don't just be a parasite, someone who is just getting. That's the challenge we have with young people. When you are being mentored, also check on your mentor. Yes. Say, I'm just checking on you. If it is his birthday, send a message. I'm not saying give them money. Remember, some of these people are well accomplished as well.
Exactly.
Send a message, say happy birthday, say. Don't be too overwhelming on them. But just send a message so that at least you remain top of mind. Remember, there are other hundreds of people who want to be mentored by me. Exactly. So you have to make sure that you are also top of mind. So if there's an opportunity, maybe I need someone to sit in I need a young person to be a board member for one of my companies. Or maybe my friend is saying, you know what, Rinos, I need a board member. You'll be top of mind. I'll just think of you, say, you know what, there's this young man, I think he has what it takes to be in part of the board. Yes. And that's also how you grow your portfolio.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I don't know how many times I've said wow in this interview. No, thank you so much for these nuggets that you are sharing with us. Now, you have been quoted as saying business is spiritual. Yeah. What exactly did you mean by that?
Well, I do believe that everything actually in life is spiritual.
Okay.
Yeah, everything that we do in life is spiritual. So if you don't have that spiritual guidance, you are bound to fail. And you have to realize that we are competing against other spiritual beings. Okay. So they might not be Christians or they might not be believers in any other religions, but maybe they are using some other ways, for them to conjure some spirits to get business. Okay. So if you are competing against such, if you don't appreciate that business is spiritual, you will lose that tender to that person. Yeah, that's the challenge. But it would be so good to have believers getting tenders as well, so that at least we finance the work of God, so that you finance, other people who are maybe less disadvantaged, than we are. Absolutely. And I always say business is spiritual. Why I'm saying that? If you ever think maybe this way, that we have people who are not believers. They don't believe in God. They don't pray, but they are still successful. Because this is something that many people are both. They say, but I pray so hard, I fast, I do a lot of things, but I am not getting results from what I'm doing. But if you are to look closer to those people, they give maybe to charity. Yes. These are spiritual principles. They are exercising and practicing spiritual principles, but they are not believers. Yes. So it still works. Because if it is a principle, if it is a biblical principle, whether you're a Christian or not, it still works. So you need to be conscious. Those people, they help the poor. They have a good heart more than people who go to church. You know, they have a good heart. When they see someone who is less disadvantaged, they feel that empathy and compassion to say, you know what, this is so wrong. Let's do it this way. So these are the few things that we fail to master as Christians.
Wow.
So business is spiritual, and we need to practice and live the spiritual principles. And if you do that, automatically you'll be successful.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are speaking to Mr. Rinos Mautsa, multiple award-winning entrepreneur. We're talking a lot of different things. We've spoken about mentorship, we've spoken about spirituality in business, and how sometimes it's important for us to understand what principles are at play and see how we can use them to our benefit. Mr. Mautsa, from a social or community development perspective, is there anything that you're involved in?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I've realized, remember, I was just given grace to start the business, to be an entrepreneur. I could have been maybe my cousin who is in the rural areas looking after our cattle. I could be like maybe my half-brother who is unemployed, and he wait maybe for handouts from me. But he was exposed to the same education just as I am. But I was fortunate enough to be in my position. So the moment you realize that, it grounds you. It makes you realize that you are just privileged, and it's such an opportunity for you to be grateful about life. So every time, that's why I see most of my posts, I talk about gratitude, because I'm so grateful. Even if everything is to be taken away today, I always say, God, at least for the level that I am at right now, I'm so grateful about life. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful every day. So because of that also, when we make some money, we also embark on a lot of community projects.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we are also taking some kids to school.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and our target is 1,000 in the next 2 years, kids that will pay school fees for. And we also, for every house that we are building, we plant 2 trees.
Oh,
because remember, we use timber on those houses. And we also have a responsibility, to our environment for the future generation. So these are some of the aspects that we are doing. And for our tech company, we are launching a program. It's called Coding for Kids.
Coding for Kids.
Yeah. So we are teaching the young generation to code, so that at least they are not just on social media or spending time on doing some other thing, but they have to learn to code so that it will also pay off at a young age.
Yes.
Yeah, they have to understand, appreciate those skills for them to be software developers at a later age. Exactly. So we are launching a project. It's a CSR. We're doing it for free, where parents will recommend their kids. They will apply, do a small video clip, and they will be enrolled. And our engineers, software engineers at our company, will take them through the coding journey until they graduate. So these are some of our CSR projects that we have embarked on over the years, and that we are still doing right now.
Once again, let me commend you for that. You also said for every building that you construct, there are 2 trees that are planted.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Giving back to the environment. So
absolutely.
Thank you for believing in the environment and in our future.
Yeah.
Coding for Kids.
Yeah.
I think to round it up, let's talk a bit about your cross-border perspectives.
Yeah.
We have youth here in Botswana. We have youth in Zimbabwe. How do you think these 2 youth components can collaborate, or what opportunities are there for us here in Botswana or here for them in Zimbabwe?
No. Thank you so much for bringing that on. I think it's a very, very important aspect. And for the young people who are also watching, for the viewers, to also appreciate that social media, not only social media, but internet has brought in so much convenience. I appreciate and I honor the entrepreneurs who were there in the 90s. They didn't have internet, but they still succeeded.
They did.
But for us, we have a lot of tools at our disposal. So if you are to fail, it's on us. It's not on anyone else. So it's so easy to collaborate. You can go on LinkedIn instead of wasting time on TikTok. I'm not saying TikTok is bad, but instead of wasting time on TikTok doing these funny videos and stuff, why can't you spend time on YouTube researching on how can I start this business? How can I do ABCD? Why can't you spend time on LinkedIn? Make your profile very corporate, very professional, and go to inboxes of people in Zimbabwe and say, you know what, I'm doing ABCD in Botswana, and our population, I think, is small. So if you want to scale, I need to hit the population of DRC, maybe, but you start with your neighboring countries. You start with Zambia, you start with South Africa, you start with Zimbabwe. Because it's so easy, because we have a lot of things in common. And our countries have been supporting each other since the liberation, times, war times. We've been supporting each other, so we have a lot of things in common. And you see, at the borders, our families, they share surnames, they share a lot of other things in common languages. So it's so easy for us to collaborate. But for us to collaborate, we have to start utilizing the digital platforms that are available. You engage. And also I always recommend to the young people who are watching, we have platforms like Global Shapers, Junior Chamber Internationals. Those platforms you join for free. Why can't you be part of the Global Shapers Caberoni Hub?
Yes.
Once you are part of that, then it's easy to also interlink with Global Shapers Harare Hub, South Africa, the Joburg Hub. And you also check who are the other young people who are within your line of business. You start asking for nuggets, say, how have you made it? How can you collaborate? How can you partner? So it's all about collaboration, because it's pointless to own rabbit 100% alone. But it's better to own maybe a portion of an elephant. If you are to have that mindset, you go places.
Yes.
Because we don't collaborate because we think it's competition. But the moment you take competition at the side and you believe that we create an ecosystem, not an ecosystem here in Botswana, then you can go with the same ecosystem, collaborate with the people in the neighboring countries. Once you do that, that ecosystem will feed into each other. That's when you also realize other opportunities to say, okay, you are maybe doing a certain business, maybe you are doing consulting, you're an engineer. But if you create an ecosystem, it's easy for you to offer your services even beyond borders. You don't have to be there. Thanks to COVID, that also made people to realize that you don't have to meet people face to face. You can make money once you are maybe some miles away. So this is very, very important, and this is something that is doable.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Mautsa. What I picked up there, as young people in business, let's see how we can leverage on these digital platforms to expand our businesses. Wow, thank you very much for that. And you did say, once again, a nugget, it's better to own a large portion of an elephant than just one rabbit on your own. Let's collaborate and see how we can grow together. Lastly, how can we follow your journey, Mr. Mautsa, and how can we get into contact for your business services?
Okay, that's fine. So we were created differently, and you can't be like me. There's no better person as you are.
Wow.
So you are the best in your own form, but you can only maybe learn and improve on what you have set yourself on. So my recommendation to the young person, start by writing your vision down.
Okay.
Yeah, to say what do you want to be like maybe in 5 years' time.
Okay.
Once you do that, you have maybe an accountability partner, someone who is also serious about life.
Yes.
That person you can meet maybe once every month. They say, if you're done, you're saying this month you want to read these 2 books. Have you read these books? For me, it really helped me when I was starting my journey. You know, I used to have the social goals, spiritual goals. Spiritual goals are that I fast every Monday for the past years.
Wow.
So it's part of my spiritual goals. I used to put, to visit the prayer mountains with my friends to pray. It's part of my spiritual goals. I also support maybe the churches that I think maybe they are aligned to my beliefs. I support, it's part of my spiritual goals. I have social goals as well. So you have to set all those those things, the nuggets, and financial goals. So once you do that, you also share with your accountability partner. That will help you to grow. And it's not about where you are coming from, like what I said earlier on, as maybe parting remarks.
Yes.
It's not about your background. We have people who had some challenges that are way, far worse than we are. We have encountered. But those guys, they are up there. So we need to understand that it's not about your background. You can be anything that you want to be. And I have a Facebook page that I usually share some nuggets on and tips on entrepreneurship. And you can reach me through that page. It's Rinos Mautsa.
Okay.
And I also have a LinkedIn page, I have a Twitter account. So these are the platforms that I usually use to also communicate and to share nuggets with other young people so that they can also be better than I am. It's very important. Once you appreciate that, Africa will become a better place.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, before I let you go,
Yeah.
you did mention your accountability partner would say to you, have you read these books? Maybe give us one book that you feel as young people in business we definitely need to read.
Well, to point one is difficult, but The Alchemist is, yes, it's amazing. If you are starting business, that one, it actually shows you from the foundation, persistent. It teaches you a lot of other things that are a prerequisite for an entrepreneur. Wow. So that one is a must-read book before you embark on business. Yes.
Wow, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a great session here with Mr. Rinos Mautsa, multiple award-winning businessman from Zimbabwe. Sir, thank you so much for having been on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that. Before we leave, we're going to go for a 2-minute break and we will be right back. Don't touch that dial. Right, so our 2-minute tip. You guys know that we are very big on strategy development here, but a lot of young people struggle with understanding the components of their business plans. So we'll talk briefly about the basic components of your business plan. Number one, in your business plan, have an executive summary. An executive summary is going to give a brief background of your business, and succinctly, it'll talk about things like your mission and your vision. Number two, business description and structure. In the business description and structure section, you are going to describe your business, you're going to describe your processes, and then you'll also talk to aspects such as the structure of your business. How does your business look? Number three, market research and strategies. In this market research and strategies section, you will talk about whatever research that you've undertaken and the strategies that you intend to undertake to reach your target market. Number four, management. In the management section of your business plan, you're going to speak to the individuals who are the key players in your organization. Talk about their backgrounds and how you feel they'll contribute towards your business's success. And lastly, number five, the financial aspects. In the financial section of your business plan, you may have a cash flow projection, or you may list your sources of revenue and expenditure so that you can see, so that whoever's reading your business plan can see where your business is going from a numerical perspective. So once again, basic components of a business plan: executive summary, business description, market research and strategies, management, and of course financial aspects. If at any point in time you are struggling with the development of your business plan, you can email info@governancegroup.org, info@governancegroup.org, and the folks at Global Governance Group will help you to develop your business plan. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a wonderful show. As always, thank you so much for your time. From me, Big Budget, and the team that makes it happen, Black Network, Moana Pictures, it's good night and God bless. And always remember that you were born for so much more.